Hello, and welcome to episode 170 of the Nintendo Fun Club podcast. This is a podcast about Nintendo and about fun. I'm Ryan, and joining me, as always, is John.
Hey Ryan, what's up?
Not much. It's been a hot minute.
It's been 2 months, I think.
Yeah. Whoops. Yeah, that is a while. Pretty much my fault. Basically, I've been super busy at work, and it's really hard to record a video game podcast when you don't actually have time to play video games. So yeah,
that makes it difficult. Yep.
Yeah, so basically, it's a 3-day weekend, so I was able to catch up on some stuff, which is nice. And let's see. Yeah, I think I don't really see things getting like super better anytime soon on like the work side of things for me. So I would not expect this to be a bi-weekly podcast again, or let alone a weekly one. It will kind of happen whenever we have time and whenever we have stuff to talk about. So please look forward to that.
Yeah, well, I think it's okay. I think that'll be fun. It'll ensure that when we do the show, it's because we want to be doing it and that we're enjoying it and it's not stressing us out. So, and like we were talking about over the weekend, Ryan, I have plenty of shows in my podcast feed that release kind of intermittently, and when a new show pops up, it's just like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. Haven't heard this show for a while. I don't think it's probably not our best way to build a listenership, but probably, you know what? It's been over 6 years now, 6.5 years. And I don't think building a listenership is really...
Yeah, that ship has sailed. Like
the goal, in the cards, a possibility, why we're doing this, why we should be doing this. So it's like, whatever. It's, let's keep doing it and do it when we can, instead of make ourselves hate it because we're, stressing out about making sure we get a show out every 2 weeks. So hopefully that's cool with everybody, but I'm fine with it. I think it sounds like the right thing to do for now. And then, who knows? A year from now or 2 years from now, we might be trying to do one every 3 days. We'll see. But
or every 3 months.
Yeah, right. Okay, that could happen too. But yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, basically expect a new episode whenever there's new SNK or Sega news.
I was actually just going to say, like, we have to keep doing this podcast because I need to be able to do a podcast when Super Monkey Ball Switch is announced. So
for sure,
we have to maintain this platform and keep it alive.
Yeah. And this episode, we not really any Sega news, but we definitely have some SNK news. So I think this is going to mostly be a news catch up because, again, like, I've played a little bit of video games like Friday and Saturday, but not a ton. I don't have that much to talk about on that front. John, you have a little bit more than me, but also not a ton. Right. But we do have some news. We're gonna start with some punk rock news. Talking about our boy Suda51. He was talking about how No More Heroes Travis Strikes Again is being pushed back to January of 2019. It was originally supposed to be a 2018 game, which I didn't actually realize. Like, I wasn't like expecting that game this year, but apparently that there was that release date for 2018, but he pushed it back, and his quote on this is basically the best, most Suda thing ever. He said, "So as you know, Super Smash Bros. Is coming out in December. I'd feel really bad about impacting their sales negatively. I'll give them a break and move it over to next year."
That's classic. That's very punk rock, very Suda51, and it's really nice of him to be that conscientious of Nintendo, and we're not wanting to hurt their sales. So yeah, I think that's no, that's a really funny response. I think I do remember that they had said 2018 when they first revealed that little like gameplay snippet, but like as the year has gone on, yeah, I definitely was not thinking to myself like, oh, that No More Heroes game is coming out anytime. So actually,
Yeah.
even though this isn't an announcement or whatever, not quite an announcement, but a discussion of a delay, like to me, it's like, oh, cool, that's coming sooner than I thought, you know? So
Yeah, totally. It's like
and
something to look forward to in January.
and now I can still buy Super Smash Brothers because otherwise, probably I was going to have to just direct all that time and attention to No More Heroes.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to choose. Um, for
uh,
sure.
yeah. Now, in a perfect world, this would be like some kind of cute little commentary, hinting the fact that Travis is coming to Super Smash Brothers. But I actually think that's probably super unlikely and not likely to be the case. But that would be
Yeah,
fun too.
that would
I
be
think there
great.
probably are still. I think there probably are still like a couple characters we don't know about yet. Could be wrong, but and we haven't talked about Simon Belmont being announced for Smash Brothers, have we?
Yeah, I mean, this was like, yeah, we didn't even talk about that Smash Direct because, this was something that I know you were really excited about the prospect of. Nintendostradamus predicted it, I believe.
He is validated once
And
again. Yes.
once again,
Yeah.
and I know like you were so stoked when the announcement finally happened, and so yeah, we haven't talked about it. King K. Rool coming to Smash. Your dreams come true.
Yeah. No, I mean I'm indifferent towards that one. It's fine. I don't care really, but Simon and Richter,
Hmm.
I mean I was so excited and I can't wait to play as those characters. I can't wait to have, Dracula and Death and all those other like even almost to me from that Smash Brothers video, even more almost more exciting than Simon and Richter was seeing like the Wolfman and Frankenstein and the Flea Man and all that stuff. Like that was
Yeah.
almost and the stage is going to be incredible too. So
Hmm.
um
Imagine all the music.
yeah, what was it,
Like,
34 or 36 tracks, right? Are going to be on the soundtrack for Castlevania. So
yeah, and they're going to be from like all different like composers and remixes, and oh my god.
yeah, yep. And just very slight 15-second detour here. I
Mhm.
was texting you guys like crazy when it happened because just that art direction and the look of it, it was like
Mhm.
so to me, it was like I can't even state how perfect it is in terms of translating Castlevania from the NES games, the original just sort of basic Castlevania look and feel into modern 3D style. Like it's just perfect to me. It looks amazing, and I know that we won't get we're not going to get a game like that, but if somehow Konami or Nintendo or Konami and Nintendo were to
Hmm.
make a modern Castlevania game, um, and it looked like that, I would die. I mean, it would be that would be like my new Breath of the Wild. That would be it would be so amazing because it just looks so perfect. It looks so perfect, so perfect. So I can't wait for that. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, so they like totally nailed like the NES aesthetic for Simon, but like also shout out to them nailing like the PC Engine CD aesthetic for
For
Richter.
Richter, oh yeah,
Like the amount of like Easter eggs that people discovered about like his poses and like the fact that like I don't know, like his holy water is different than Simon's and like all this stuff, like the one-to-one matchups between like Richter's moves and poses to like the that ridiculous amazing anime intro to Rondo of Blood. Like it's so good. Like I actually think that I don't care if I'm like good with him or whatever. I Richter's gonna be my main in Smash Ultimate.
yeah. No, I feel that way about Simon. Yeah,
Yeah.
um, they're both. I mean, yeah, I can't. Ugh, so good.
Yeah, it's crazy. Um Cool. Yeah, Smash Ultimate. Yay.
Yeah.
Gonna buy that game. Thank you, Suda, for giving me the opportunity. Um, all right, so another cool game that's coming out. I don't know anything about this. I just saw like a picture and I clicked on the trailer and I was like, yes, this is a video game I want to buy. Domo Arigato Gato Robato uh, is coming to Switch in 2019. Um, Basically it's like a black and white Metroidvania game, and like the Metroid, like original like NES Metroid vibe is definitely there in full effect, but watching the trailer it reminded me a ton of Blaster Master, because you're in this like super powerful like mech suit. You're a cat in a mech suit, which is like pretty much my aesthetic. And but you can like when you jump out of the mech suit to like go into like secret or smaller passages and stuff. It's totally Blaster Master, and you're like super vulnerable when you're out of the mech suit and stuff. And I don't know if this game will be good. I mean, it's from Devolver is publishing it, which they have a pretty solid track record in like the past, especially in the past like year or so. We're going to talk about a couple Devolver games in a little bit here, but yeah, like I saw this and I was like, wow, that's a game that I would, if it wasn't coming to Switch, I would be like, man, I wish that was coming to Switch, but it totally is coming to Switch. So yay.
Yeah. I think it looks really funny, and should be pretty good. My assumption would be that it's going to be around $10 and around maybe 2 to 3 hours long, or something
great.
like that. Which, yes, I know that's in 2018. That's like, or 2019, is it will be. It's like a perfect video game for me, you know. So yeah, no problem there. But yeah, it should be fun. I mean, I would assume it's not going to be like amazing, incredible gameplay, you know, blow you away necessarily, but it should be fun. Yeah, and it's got a lot of charm and a lot of heart. So it seems like, so that should be cool.
Yeah, it's combining like a whole bunch of my favorite things. So yeah, stoked on that.
Yeah, shout out to the scene in the trailer where like there's like a spaceship and then just probably like 30 cats on the ground, you know. I don't know if you remember that part, but worth the price of admission for that scene alone, I think. So
yeah, for sure. Cool. Shovel Knight, King of Cards has been dated. Another 2019 joint. This is like probably like the deepest 2019 release date of games that I'm interested in. Something I look forward to on April 9th. The final expansion to Shovel Knight is coming on April 9th. And that's the King of Cards, like I guess like story platformer section. I'm not totally sure what like the gameplay hook is going to be in this one. They kind of change it up with each DLC, but alongside it, there's going to be Shovel Knight Showdown, which is a multiplayer focused expansion that includes a story mode, with the knights battling in modes including treasure hunting and a fighting game. So I guess if you were sad that Shovel Knight is only an assist trophy in Smash Brothers, which is still really awesome, there's going to be, I guess, like a Shovel Knight fighting game that's coming in. You know, if you own Shovel Knight, you're getting this this DLC. Specifically, if you own the Treasure Trove on the Switch.
Yeah,
which you should own.
Did I read it correctly that it's $10 per mode if you don't own the Treasure Trove?
Yeah.
Yeah, like really, like, because the Treasure Trove collection or whatever is $24.99, so it's kind of like you're really just going to like be losing money, I guess, if you don't just buy that collection.
No, and you should.
Yeah, you should. Although Ryan, like I don't have it yet, and
What?
I'm in this weird. I mean, I have it on Wii U, but not the Treasure
Yeah.
Trove. But I have like whatever. On well, maybe it is the Treasure. It doesn't matter. I have Shovel Knight on Wii U. I don't have it on Switch. And I want to get it, but then like I want that physical edition
Oh
too. So I'm
yeah.
thinking maybe I'm just gonna wait until that comes out. I'm in that situation with a handful of games here on Switch. Gone Home
Yeah.
I know is getting a physical release, and I
Oh, are
definitely
you
that.
serious?
Yeah.
Ooh,
So I haven't
yeah,
bought
I
that
want
yet.
that.
So yeah, I got a couple different situations like that where and the thing is, there's going to be so much for me to play on Switch too and I've already played
Hmm.
Shovel Knight. I mean, there's modes I haven't played, but I think I can wait for the physical edition
Yeah.
for that reason. But I would love to just play through the standard Shovel Knight mode again and
Hmm.
try. I think there's been like one other campaign. I played the first DLC campaign,
Plague Knight.
Plague Knight, yeah, and that one I was halvesies on. I didn't totally love that one because it was kind of
Yeah.
like then like the control. I didn't like controlling Plague Knight as much, but I think
Yeah.
there's been one since then too, right?
Uh-huh. Spectre of Torment.
Yeah, and that one I
And
heard
it is
is way more
so
fun.
good. I played
Yeah,
through it twice. It's so good. It's like
yeah.
one of my favorite Switch games.
So I wonder
Um,
if that might be on my Wii U, like if I got that as a free update on the Wii U, or if I had to pay for that one.
oh, I don't know.
I don't
I don't
know.
know how that works. Yeah, because I have a disc copy of Shovel Knight for Wii U.
Oh, okay, okay.
But I also haven't had my Wii U hooked up in like months, so
Yeah, I
I
don't know
don't.
how playing the Wii U in 2018 works either, but
Yeah.
my kids play it, so
Oh,
that's
well,
yeah.
that's
But
nice.
yeah, it's hooked up. But anyway, yeah. And what about those amiibo? Are you going to jump on the amiibo or?
Yeah, I kind of wish I could buy them separate because I just want Spectre, really.
Okay,
But I'll probably bite. Yeah, I mean, I already have the Shovel Knight amiibo. Like, I probably need like the whole set.
sure.
I
Yeah,
mean,
shamefully I haven't bought the Shovel Knight amiibo yet. That's one of a handful of amiibo out there that I still really want, even though I've majorly slowed down on buying amiibo.
well, so Nintendo has majorly slowed down on selling amiibo.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But the first 6 months, I was like, oh man, if it's an amiibo, I want it.
Oh, for sure.
Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't have that one. I don't have Ryu from Street Fighter.
I
I
don't
don't
have
have
that one
King.
either.
I don't have King DDD. Um,
Mm.
so there's
I
a
got
couple Breath of the Wild ones I'd love to get that I don't have. So
Yeah, I think the last ones I got were the Splatoon 2 girls.
oh okay,
I got that 2 pack, but
yeah.
there's gonna be definitely want some of the upcoming Smash Ultimate ones. I mean Simon for sure, but
Will
also
we
like
get Echo characters also? So like, will they do a Simon and a Richter, or
I
just a
don't
Simon?
I don't know actually. I'm
If they
not
do a
totally
Simon,
sure.
well, either way, but like getting in those
Yeah.
Castlevania
If
amiibo, like
oh my
that's
god,
a
if I could get a
million.
Richter,
Yeah.
uh,
What if they do a 3 pack with Dracula or something like?
oh my
I don't think they would though, right? Because they don't do anybody that's not.
yeah.
I don't think they would, but that would be
They should just
bananas.
they should just make like a bunch of um Castlevania amiibo. Like who cares? Just like make an L card and like
Yeah,
just do it.
yeah. Well, it's total like it has this hope of mine has about the same like level of like reality basis in reality as like the whole like oh they're gonna go third party like all that kind of thing like just
Yeah.
like internet fanboy like you know drivel. But oh my god, I wish Nintendo would just like either buy Konami or buy Castlevania. It'd be so good. It would be perfect.
Yeah.
Save it from Konami or save Konami from
Yeah.
itself or whatever. But
Nintendo developed Castlevania pachinko machines.
I
Oh my god.
mean, really though, like there's it's so unlikely, but what is like? There's no reason that Konami couldn't say, well, we don't really do games too much anymore, but we know Castlevania is
Mhm.
huge, and Nintendo's pretty good at making video games, so they could totally license. Although I guess I don't know if Nintendo like ever. When's the last time Nintendo did like a licensed game, like developed a game for somebody else's IP? Um, I can't think of a time I think they used to do that like maybe in the 16-bit era or maybe even like after that, but not in a really long time.
I mean,
Right?
they used to co-develop games with like, you know, in the GameCube era when they did like F-Zero with Sega and
But was that always one of their IPs that they would bring in another developer to
yeah,
do with them? You know what I mean? So I don't know that
that's
they would.
true. There's probably something where the like that's super obvious that we're missing here, but yeah, you're kind of right. I mean, even I guess like Smash Brothers allows Nintendo to play in a lot of different companies' toy boxes.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, sorry. Golden.
oh, yeah, kind of.
Kind of, but that was
That was a rare game.
Rare, but they owned Rare. But yeah, that's a little bit. But what about Ken Griffey's baseball or whatever it was? That's sort of counts, right?
I don't think that
That doesn't
counts.
count. It's not the
No,
right.
because it's not like Ken Griffey Jr. was like an established brand of video games from some other company.
Well, okay, true, but Major League Baseball is like not something Nintendo owns, and they still like made a video game about it. I mean, I get it's not the same thing as doing like a I don't know, like making the new Harry Potter game or something. But you know, it's like
Yeah.
it is them venturing outside of their own IP. You know, or
Yeah.
sort of, yeah, basically.
Okay. I
They're
don't
not going to
know.
make a Castlevania game. It sucks
No,
that
they
they're not,
aren't.
but that would be incredible if they did. So
That would be cool.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
You know,
okay.
here's hoping Konami's like, you know, looking next door over at Capcom and being like, hey, Mega Man 11 comes out in October, and you know, for a while there was nothing going on with him, and I guess Capcom
Mm-hmm.
is developing that themselves, but still, you know, who knows?
Yeah.
All right, we can continue. This was weird. We can continue.
No, it's something I would like to happen. But speaking of Capcom, this is a real weird one. Um, Onimusha Warlords coming to Switch. The original PS2 game is getting ported to Switch in the way that Capcom is wont to do with you know, the Resident Evil games and most recently Okami, taking their older games and updating them for modern platforms. Yeah, it's I like this game a lot. I'm really excited about this. This was actually the first. You know, I got a PS2 at launch, and like in that first few months, there was precious little that I actually enjoyed playing on the system. I actually spent most of my time in that era playing like PS1 games and Dreamcast games. And then Onimusha was like the first. It was actually, I think, the first PS2 game I bought, and it was the first one I really, really liked. Basically, if you haven't played it, it's essentially Samurai Resident Evil, with more of like an action focus. So I guess it's closer to like it was kind of continuing that as Capcom was like slowly evolving the Resident Evil formula to be like a bit more accessible and a bit more action focused, but still trying to like hold on to some of those like you know, the exploration elements and the fixed camera angles and stuff like that. So it's actually kind of like the next step. Like I think you look at like the Resident Evil games, and then like you get Code Veronica, which is like there's a little bit more action to that one, a little more gunplay, and then Dino Crisis 2 on PS1, which was way more action focused, and then Onimusha, and then following Onimusha was Devil May Cry, and yeah, and then it just kind of went from there. But yeah, it's Onimusha is definitely a stepping stone on that evolutionary path. I think it's excellent. It's an excellent game. And it's going to be better on On Switch, there's a new control scheme designed for analog sticks because
That's how old it is.
yeah, basically. But
Well, no,
no,
you said it was on PS2 though, right?
yeah, so like there were analog sticks, but it has those like fixed camera angles, so like it made more sense to play it with a D-pad. So I think they're going to be doing sort of what Capcom did with like Remake, and allowing you to choose between the like tank controls or something more modern.
Yeah. Which
But
is what they did with Remake HD or whatever, right? Like not the original
yes,
remake. Yeah.
yes, that's true. Yeah, Remake HD. There's going to be an easy mode option, widescreen support. Everything's going to be HDified, and a new soundtrack, which I'm getting this from the Polygon article, and they don't actually have the rationale behind the new soundtrack here, but I believe this is one of the um, games that the soundtrack was infamously credited to a composer internal at Capcom who it turned out for many years actually was not composing his games, and he had like a ghostwriter who was doing all the compositions instead. Yeah, I believe that this was one of the games that he quote unquote worked on, and like Resident Evil director's cut as well. But yeah, like there was like a few years where this guy was working within Capcom and not actually composing his games. So this will have a totally new soundtrack composed by someone who's actually composing. Yeah. Interesting stuff. This is a really cool game. I think if you like, it's like mid-school Resident Evil, so like it's definitely not like RE4 action push, but it's a little more accessible and actiony than like RE2, but still like maintains a lot of like what makes the series cool with like the exploration and fixed camera angles. It's not really horror, but there's like definitely some like macabre elements to it. But it's all samurai and it's super fun, and I'm really excited to play this game on my Switch.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I do remember this game being a big deal at the time. I did not play it myself. So I'm curious about it. It definitely looks like a kind of a PS2 game from the screenshots. You know, I mean, obviously they've kind of up-res the graphics and stuff, but it would be definitely an interesting Switch game, I think, or PS4 or whatever. Just because, yeah, it's not like a complete remake, right? It's basically like remastering it with some HD graphics and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah. And did we say when this is coming, or we just know that it is?
January 15th, 2019.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. I wonder if Suda is getting
yikes.
out of the way of this one, or if he's going to stand his ground or what.
Ooh. Yeah.
Or maybe what that means is Travis will be a playable character in Onimusha then,
That would actually be like weirdly perfect. I would love that. But it's also $20.
Okay.
Which is like a perfect price for this game, because like there's some effort that went into modernizing it, and it's also like a pretty like meaty game, and it's one that's like super replayable in the same way that the old Resident Evils were replayable. Like you get scored on at like the end of your gameplay and stuff. So $20 is perfect. It's actually a little bit lower than what I'd expect. I kind of thought this would be like a $30 game, but $20 I'm super in. But that'll be a fun week. This and Travis Strikes Again.
For sure.
Yeah. Cool. So something that's really exciting to me, something I have basically been talking about how I want on a Nintendo system since we started this podcast, I'd say. I remember pining for this game on Wii U because I really wanted a quote unquote portable version of it that I could play while like watching TV and stuff.
While no more than 9 feet away from your Wii U
Yes.
console.
Yeah, well, that's how we used to do it back in the day. But yeah, Blizzard has officially confirmed that Diablo 3 is coming to Switch. Not a whole lot to say about this, except Diablo 3 is possibly my most played video game of all time. It's either this or World of Warcraft in terms of like pure like man hours. So I've played this game so much. I played hundreds of hours on PC. I played a bunch on PS4, actually a bunch on PS3. Lindsay and I played it a ton co-op on PS3 and then a bunch on PS4. And I also have it on Xbox One. And I've played a ton, like quote unquote portable again, using my Surface tablet, like set up on my coffee table, while you can stream Xbox One to a Surface, or to, I guess, any Windows 10 device, but I use my Surface for it, and I played a ton that way, which is like super like fake portable. But it's just a super chill game with like literally infinite depth, because there's so much like randomly generated stuff in it, from like the levels to the loot. It's going to be super fun to play this local multiplayer. Lindsay's already really excited about it. We're going to this will probably be my go-to game to play during wrestling going forward. So
Nice.
I'm really excited about this. Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, it's an exciting announcement. I've never played Diablo 3. And I'm not totally sure it's the kind of thing that I'd be into, but
I don't know if it's totally your thing.
Yeah, probably not, but exciting nonetheless that it's coming to Switch, for sure. So
yeah,
and it sounds like from what I've heard, been reading on Twitter and stuff, it sounds like it could be like a really great way to play multiplayer too, versus playing multiplayer like previously on one console or even online, just because everybody's would have their own screen and that kind of thing. So
yeah,
it should be cool.
Yeah, I think like the local multiplayer aspect is going to be super good, because like I said, Lindsay and I played a bunch co-op on PS3 and PS4, but like you're kind of always having to like wait for the other person, and because you're playing on the same screen, so if they like want to like go in and check their inventory and stuff, then you're on that inventory screen, and you just gotta wait and stuff. But yeah, having your own screen but also being able to be in the same room is huge. And it's like one of those great things about the Switch. All right, now, without any further ado, it is time to get into the SNK section of this podcast. First, super exciting SNK news: Windjammers coming to Switch. This game absolutely rules. This is a game that have you ever played it, John?
I've never played Windjammers. No.
Okay.
Basically, what I know about it is that Xavier Woods, PhD, really is good at Windjammers and loves Windjammers, and that's about all I know.
Yes.
And that it looks basically like air hockey. is the other thing I know about it.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like air hockey slash frisbee golf slash um with like total like outrun vibes. Just in like the
The aesthetic.
super chill 80s, like even though it's like actually not a very chill game, it's like super intense,
Hmm.
but the look of it is very like late 80s, early 90s. And
Which they definitely played to in that commercial, or the announcement advertisement
yes.
with the couple who all of a sudden get 80s fied when they play Windjammers. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's great. You will love this game, John. I guarantee it. It is exactly the type of like quote unquote sports game that you're into.
Okay.
It's so fun, multiplayer. And it's just really great, really intense, really fun. It's definitely like a party game. It could end up being like the party game on Switch. um, it's fun to play, it's fun to watch. Yeah, Windjammers is incredible, and it's coming to Switch later this year. This was announced at Evo. um, and also announced shortly after the Switch port is Windjammers 2 is a thing um, in this very weird timeline that we're living in. Windjammers 2 is a game that's coming out, and it's also coming to Switch, and that will be sometime next year.
So
So,
this is a new game that has not been released in any other capacity yet. Windjammers 2.
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
This is a modern sequel.
Yes, and it's being developed by emu
Mm, yeah.
um, that are porting the um, the Switch version of the first game. So
Cool. Okay.
yeah, that's it seems to be in good hands. It's these folks are really passionate about this series, and there's also a lot of fans that are passionate about it. And shout out to like a lot of people that have really put this game on the mainstream radar, like the Giant Bomb folks and Xavier Woods. I don't know, I think this might be like a Kenny Omega jam as well. I'm not totally sure, but a lot of like big name people in the scene have been like singing the praises of this game, which was kind of forgotten until like a few years ago. And then I think people kind of like rediscovered like it. I mean, it really is like a hidden gem.
Mm.
And it's been building momentum ever since.
Cool.
And
Cool.
now it's like super back, and it's super on Switch, which is the perfect place for this game.
Yeah. Nice. I'm really excited for this one for sure.
Yeah. And the final bit of SNK news is the 40th anniversary collection will get 10 free DLC games, which is crazy because like this collection was already an embarrassment of riches with like of course like all the behind the scenes stuff, as is typical of like Frank Cifaldi joints. um but then this 40th anniversary collection, it already had I think 13 games announced for it, which was cool. But what was really cool about it is for those games, a lot of them, since there were they originated in the arcade, and then there were Famicom NES ports. You were getting both versions. So like Akari Warriors, you'd get like the awesome arcade game and the absolutely terrible NES port. But like that's really cool already. And the collection already included um Crystallis, which is like one of the best 8-bit action RPGs in existence, which is totally worth $40 on its own, and was like has never been like re-released digitally, and like this was already such an incredible collection, and then they're telling us now that there's going to be 10 free DLC games, bringing the total to 23 games in this collection. Like it's insane, because like there's so many of these games that are like so good, like Guerrilla War and Psycho Soldier. Like you're already getting these fantastic games in this collection, totally worth the price of admission. They were already over delivering, and then this announcement, I'm just blown away. I've not actually played any of the first 5 games they announced that are going to be free. Chopper 1, it's Chopper 1, which interestingly,
yeah, it's a Roman numeral 1, but it looks like Chopper I, right?
yeah,
it must be Chopper 1.
I Chopper. There was total tangent here, but there was I don't know if you remember this, John. Back when, I guess it was around the time like Blink-182 was huge, and like everyone was trying to find like the next big pop punk band, like major labels and stuff. And there was like, you know, like SR-71 and, you know, all these bands that were just kind of coming out of nowhere and having like one music video and then like fading to obscurity. There was this band called Chopper 1, and they had a song called A Punk Named Josh. And it was a pretty hot jam. I feel like they were one of the better attempts of capturing that like polished pop punk money, I guess, at the time. But yeah, so
is it possible that listeners of this show will hear Punk Rock Josh in the intro or outro?
A punk named Josh. Yeah, if I can find the track, it will definitely be in this episode. For sure.
Okay. It might be playing right now. Who knows?
Who knows? Probably not, because that takes too much work. So another one called Fantasy, which you know, if speaking of punk rock, there's a Mariah Carey song. Munch Mobile.
Yeah, Munch Mobile.
No idea. Yeah. Sasuke versus Commander. This is one I think I've seen. I think it might have been like a PSP Mini when SNK was releasing some of their early games that way. I don't know. I've never played it. And Time Soldiers, another one that I've never played, but I'm incredibly excited for all of these because I love SNK, and I'm pretty unfamiliar with a lot of their like pre-Neo Geo arcade work. I played like the NES ports of like POW and Akari Warriors and Guerrilla War. I think Alpha Mission as well. But I never played like the arcade versions because they never had them at arcades when I was growing up. So yeah, this is really exciting, and they just keep like adding value to this collection. And I'm sure there's going to be like so much like crazy, never before seen, like SNK production art and stuff. That's going to be really, really exciting. Like this collection, this might be like my most anticipated game this year, honestly. I've pre-ordered the deluxe edition from the NIS America store. First time I've ever ordered a special edition from them, but I had to get it for this game.
That's the one with the incredible book, right? But it's like $80 or something.
Yeah, I think maybe 70. I don't remember. Okay. I just like, I wasn't even looking at the price. I just like put in my debit card number as soon as I saw it, because it doesn't matter. Yeah. So yeah, So
yeah,
excited.
no, this sounds incredible. For some reason, I keep getting this one confused with the Namco arcade collection, which is getting a physical release too later this
Yeah,
month, and
with Pac-Man.
Pac-Man Champion
Yeah,
Edition 2, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
actually both. I think both, maybe, or maybe it's just the second one, but yeah. Anyway, so that's coming. We get this on the way. When is this one coming out? November.
November 13th.
Yeah, November 13th. Yeah. So yeah, between these and all of the arcade archive games, man, quite the and you know what? This will have some vertically oriented games, I assume too.
A
And
whole bunch of them. A whole
yeah,
bunch of
so
them. So
this will be
shout out
great to
to
use with
Flip
the
Grip.
flip grip. Yeah, and we both
Yeah.
have one of those on the way, right? And we
Hopefully
both.
it gets here in time.
Yeah, well, I think so. I think at least for SNK, right?
Yeah.
It should. I know. I think there were like a couple waves of the Kickstarter or whatever it was, and
hmm
I'm pretty sure I was in on the first one. I think you were too. So
Yeah.
I want to say that because then they put it up for order. It's probably still up for order on Fangamer. And if you ordered from them, I think it was a later ship date, maybe because that would be like a second wave that would ship out from them.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure, but I thought it would be coming pretty soon. I think so. I hope.
hmm
But anyway.
Yeah, so a couple more things on this SNK Anniversary Collection. I just went on the NIS America online store. It's $64.99 for the special edition with the super nice hardcover art book. Also, another game that is included on here is Prehistoric Isle, which the Neo Geo sequel just came out on the Switch eShop last week, I think. And I've been playing I bought the sequel on the eShop, and it's like it's super weird. It's a Neo Geo game from 1999. So that's exciting. But it's like CG like sprites. I guess they're not sprites, they're CG. But it's like that era of CG. It actually doesn't look like super bad. It looks kind of weird, but it's basically a game where you fly a helicopter and fight dinosaurs that are invading the city. So it's pretty cool. And we're getting the I guess predecessor in this compilation, which looks actually looks kind of better than the Neo Geo game because it is sprite based. But in the predecessor, it looks like you fly biplanes and fight dinosaurs. So that's yeah, like it's a really good take on the shooter genre. But one last thing on the collection on the NIS America online store, the stock availability on this collection is 11 to 25% left. So they are almost out of these, and with this stuff, once it's gone, it's gone. So just want to give a heads up to listeners, if you're going to get that special edition with like the hardcover art book, you may want to do that soon.
Yeah. Yep. I just saw that as well. The 11 to 25%. I'm like, I want it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's an extra $25, I guess, for the book, basically, because it would probably be, I don't know what the.
I think it's 40.
And there is a standard physical edition too.
There is, yeah.
But I want that book.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I probably won't. I don't think I'll get it, but it certainly is enticing, no doubt.
Yeah. Okay. So games we've been playing. You've been playing Minute.
Yeah, I have been playing Minute. I was playing it. It's not a very long game, so I played it for a couple days, a few different times, and I was really enjoying it. Shout out to our good friend Tyler Olu, who hooked me up with a code for the game. So I probably wouldn't have ended up getting to it without Tyler's help. So that was really nice of him. And yeah, it's like a top-down Zelda light game, I would say, in the sense that it seems very inspired by like the original Zelda, and it's definitely like a smaller or I guess lighter version of that sort of thing. The hook of the game, or the kind of like conceit of it or whatever, is that you are only able to play in 60-second bursts. So as soon as the game starts up, there's a timer that's counting down from 60. And when that hits 0, the game ends and you start over again in your house. And so whatever you accomplish, you have to accomplish in 60-second bursts. So if I leave my house and I go find a watering can, if I find it within that 60 seconds, then, when my game resets and I'm back at my house, I will have that watering can. I don't have to go get it again. So you're trying to accomplish just like little things in 60-second bursts. And the look of the game is really interesting too. It's a black screen with white graphics, so it's black and white, but not like it doesn't look like Game Boy or something, which is I guess like a whitish or greenish background and then darker graphics. It's like the inversion of that. Black background with white graphics, but so yeah, it's very like lo-fi in terms of the look and that sort of thing, which is similar to what was the Domo Arigato
Gato Roboto.
Yeah. It looks and I believe Minute is from Devolver as well, so
nice.
Probably similar team working on
and
these games.
Downwell is another game that
It looks like that.
Yeah, okay. Which is also another Devolver thing. That's becoming their aesthetic of it.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's cool. I don't know. I wouldn't say that I really love playing games that look that like from playing Minute. Like it's cool, but it's just so sparse looking. You know what I mean? It's like a pre-NES looking game in a lot of ways,
Well, it's like old like European PC computers. Yeah. Like I don't know, like it feels like a Amiga or something.
Right. Right. But I mean, like we're gonna talk in a few minutes about another game that has an 8-bit look, and that's just like I think. I mean, granted, the good thing about Minute is I think you can finish it in probably like 2 hours or something. So
nice.
You're not playing with this look for too long. But I'm not gonna say it's like tiring to look at, but I just think for the first 10 minutes it's like, well, this is really cool. This is a different look, and then after that it's like. This is kind of brutal, you know what I mean? It's a bit of a brutalist approach, I feel like.
Ooh, like brutalist architecture.
Yeah. Not really.
Nice.
Just it's fine. It's cool. It's different. But yeah, I think that loses its appeal for me, anyways, relatively quickly. But I don't hate it. It's just yeah, it's fine. I'm talking about the look. The game itself is pretty cool. It is pretty fun. I think I'm about 75% of the way through. And I want to finish it, but I was playing some other stuff. Like other things came up. I've also been playing Symphony of the Night.
Ooh.
Not on the Switch, unfortunately.
Oh my god. Crime against humanity.
I don't know what's going on with that Castlevania collection, or a Castlevania collection of some kind, or I don't know what they're doing with that, but or if they're doing anything with that. But yeah, I would love to be playing Symphony of the Night on my Switch. I've been playing it elsewhere, but and then The Messenger, which we're going to talk about too. So plus my Picross game, for some reason I started playing again. Not the sequel. I haven't gotten the sequel, but I started playing the first one on Switch again. And still always like Rocket League, Mario Kart, Street Fighter 2, stuff like that I've been playing also. So anyway, I haven't gotten through and finished it, but yeah, it's pretty clever. It's pretty fun. It's definitely like I said, like Zelda Light.
Mhm.
You know, but there's some fun like puzzle solving and stuff like that. As you can imagine, the combat is not really a focus, considering you're playing in 60-second bursts, so you're not
Yeah.
really developing that or anything as you go. It's more about exploration and puzzle solving.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, like there's no map, which I guess it would be tough to consult a map in a 60-second time frame. But
Right.
I do think in terms of like I'm at the point now where I'm venturing pretty far from the beginning of the game, because you find other houses along the way, and then when you die, you can start at those houses instead of the original one.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, which is
I
kind of
was
how
gonna
you get
I was
into.
gonna ask about that, like if it got repetitive, like going through the same few first scenes like over and over again.
Right. I mean, it still can get a little repetitive in that regard because, like, I think I found a total of 3 different houses. So, for the majority of the time, you might go through those same scenes like 20 times at least or something. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, yeah, it can get a little repetitive, but I'm at the point now where I'm trying to probably venture pretty far from the last house that I've been in, and it can just get like a little bit like, especially with the graphics being so sparse.
Hmm.
Where am I again? Because like this is being
Oh,
black
yeah.
screen and everything kind of looks the same, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I think a map maybe would have been cool, but it's definitely a pretty cool game, pretty fun. I'm really glad that I was able to get a chance to play it. I know there's some hard modes too, so I think like I said, the game is pretty brief, but I think there's 2 other modes after you finish it for the first time that kind of like maybe remixes things and changes it up a little bit. So
Mm.
there's a fair bit of playability there as well. So yeah, it's a pretty cool little game, and I think I would recommend it for um, if you have time if you're looking for something just kind of brief and like I said, like sort of Zelda inspired, but definitely a much lighter version of that kind of thing. So
Cool.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Um, something I've been playing a bunch this weekend, and I'm not going to talk too much about it because I mean, it's a pretty known quantity, but Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate on the Switch. Um, it is a basically HD port of the last 3DS Monster Hunter game, which is notable because it just had like an insane amount of content. Just like there's so much in the game, so many monsters. It was kind of like a best of um, game, and it still follows the formula of like the recent portable games. Like it's kind of just an extension of For Ultimate, with a couple new mechanics in like the hunter arts and stuff, but basically the game feels super good on the Switch. Like it's so great playing in portable mode. The local multiplayer is awesome. Lindsay and I have done some hunts together, and that's like super fun. Just like sitting on the couch and playing on portables in the same room. Um, that's great. And then there's so much free DLC available right from the start. There's quests, like so many like Nintendo themed quests that you can get right from the start. There's like Zelda, Animal Crossing, a lot of like Capcom stuff as well, Ghosts and Goblins, um, everything. So it's such an insane package, like content wise. Like it doesn't have a lot of the quality of life improvements as like Monster Hunter World, which recently launched on PS4 and Xbox One and PC. But it's like if you are fine with classic Monster Hunter, which I am, this is like a super improved way to play it, and it has the benefit of playing portable, which has become like the way I enjoy playing Monster Hunter games. Um, and it looks good on like the portable Switch. I think Capcom is really smart about like how and they have been for a while about like how their engines scale across platforms. So you can have stuff like, like Resident Evil Revelations come out on 3DS and then also come out on, PS4 and like look amazing. So yeah, this is another example of them having like a really great scalable engine. And yeah, it's super cool. I like it a lot, and I'm for sure going to play it a lot in the coming months. So yeah, it's cool. It's well worth the price, but it's also like there's always that asterisk of like it's well worth the price if you can get into Monster Hunter, which is not like the most accessible game from the get-go, and you really have to put in the time to like really get a good feel for it. If you're like me and going from, you've played the 3DS games a bunch leading up to this, like you're gonna be in like perfect shape. But if it's your first Monster Hunter game, like it's a great place to start, because the game is phenomenal and it has like all of like just again so much content. But there is a learning curve. There are training modes which I didn't do because I don't really need to.
As you said, you're in perfect shape, so from playing a lot of Monster Hunter.
I'm yeah, perfect shape. A physical specimen. But yeah, like those are probably helpful, but just know like the game has like Monster Hunter just inherently has a lot of like weird quirks to it that can be really off-putting to a lot of people. And I know, John, you're someone who like really bounced off the series. Like you gave it a fair shake, but
I mean, yeah, sort of. I just played a demo and I was like, oh, I hate this. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not like, because I know with this game, there are plenty of people who've like bought games and tried to play for like 5 or 10 hours and didn't. I remember that the talk around Monster Hunter for a while there was like, oh, you've got to give it like 30. Like once you give it 30 hours, it'll click with you. And I was like, oh, hell no. Like, no, get that away from me. But so I wouldn't even really like claim that I gave it a fair shake, but yeah, no, it's really not for me. And like you're saying, it's not super accessible to certain people or maybe a lot of people, without them wanting to give it the old college try, as it were. But in addition to that, like the last Monster Hunter game, Monster Hunter World, was kind of an evolution of this whole thing too, right? And like that one maybe is, I've heard, like more accessible probably to new people. So, and they haven't announced a follow-up to that game. Like there's like, this is a new release, but it's of an old game, right? So
yeah,
we don't really kind of know like what's happening with Monster Hunter after Monster Hunter World, or do we?
No.
So I'm just curious, like if like the next Monster Hunter game will, I know they couldn't probably port World to Switch, so whatever the next one is maybe won't come to Switch either. I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, they could port World to Switch because like they just released it on PC, which is like super scalable hardware. If I think if this game does well, especially in the West, like I wouldn't be surprised to get a World port, maybe something with like all the DLC, because there's been a ton of like paid DLC for World. The Generations and like the 3DS games and stuff have typically always had free DLC. World has like the stuff you'd expect from a PS4 Xbox One game with like a season pass and like $10 for emotes and all of that stuff. The price of next generation visuals, but yeah, I could see that happening, or at the very least I would not be surprised if this does well to see a version of World 2 on Switch, like obviously a visually scaled back, but with like those quality of life improvements. But I still think like if you give it the 30 hours to get into it, like once the mechanics click, it becomes second nature, and like all the quirks just you're just fine with them.
Yep, yeah, but then it just becomes an animal torture simulator, and I'm not into that either.
Hey, it's you or them. Um,
That is
survival.
decidedly not how I look at the world.
Well, well, then you should probably stay away from Prehistoric Isle.
Oh. Okay, yeah, true that. Yeah.
Um,
I don't know. There's a level of detachment I feel whenever I'm
sure,
torturing animals from a B-52 or whatever. So it's different. But
that's
yeah.
fair. Fair. Anyways, so yeah, Monster Hunter. It's good. Last game, I guess, for us to talk about. The Messenger. This is kind of like the hot buzz indie game of this month on Switch. I feel like there's one every month these days. Like it was Dead Cells last month, Hollow Knight the month before, and then like The Messenger seems to be the game everyone's talking about to like right now. We both bought it. I think you've probably played a bit more than me.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. I haven't played, a couple hours only, because it's just came out Thursday.
Mhm.
So yeah, I've played maybe like 2.5, 3 hours, something like that.
Okay, yeah, that's more than me. I'd put about an hour
Okay.
into it.
Yeah.
Just got out of the catacombs, and I think like the next area after that, like bamboo forest or something.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Um,
probably only like a stage or two behind me, maybe.
okay.
Maybe you die less than I do. I don't know.
Hmm. Well,
Uh,
so what do you think?
I think it's great. I'm really liking it. The stuff that matters most to me, I think is really cool. It plays great. Like I feel like it feels really smooth, and it just feels good. Especially once, like when you first start, you can't cling to walls, which was
Yeah.
a little weird in a Ninja Gaiden inspired game, but you get that ability pretty quickly. So that's cool. And you kind of do receive upgraded abilities kind of as the game goes on, at least so far. You do. Because I just got a different one as well, another ability. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I think it feels really good, which is probably the most important thing for a side
Mhm.
scrolling, action game like this. I need it to feel great, and
Mhm.
I think it does, control wise. It does feature this like cloud stepping thing, which is something I honestly haven't had to use all that much, and don't necessarily use all that much because it's a little bit of a weird thing. Um, like the idea for cloud stepping is that if you strike something in the air, then you receive another jump after that. And so that's a kind of a difficulty thing, or like it's almost like Mario Odyssey, when you could jump off the hat. You could throw
Yeah.
Cappy and then jump off of it. I know a lot of people like love that because it's like this challenge thing where you can like really like string together like cool.
Yeah.
I didn't ever do that really in Mario Odyssey because I wasn't very good at it, and
Mhm.
that's
Same.
kind of where I'm at with this too. Like I'm not
Yeah.
doing a ton of, and I was a little worried when I first introduced that in the beginning of the game because I was like, oh no, am I gonna have to like? There's gonna be tons of like huge like gaps that I have to cross by doing this cloud stepping thing because you have to like I don't know. It's not unforgiving, but I wouldn't say it's super forgiving either. Like you have to strike whatever enemy or item it is like at just the right time.
Mhm.
So if you're like soaring through the air and you hit the strike button just like a half a second too late, you're not going to hit the thing you were trying to hit, and then I was worried I'd be falling to my death all the time because you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But so far that hasn't really been an issue for me, so that's cool. It's like an added challenge type thing, but not something that's like super essential so far anyway.
Yeah, I think it's cool because it gives like pro players
Right.
something to work with because I'm sure like speedrunners and
Yep.
stuff are
Yep.
going to like do amazing things with that. I still, even like an hour in, find it like kind of off-putting, and I don't like love using it. And if I see something that's like, you'll see like areas where like there'll be like an item or something that will be like super high up, and like it's just like an extra thing you can do, but like you can see that you have to do a bunch of this cloud stepping to get there. Like I usually just like, okay, I'm just gonna go past this and not if it's optional, not really use it. I mean, honestly, like I think it's cool that they develop like a new mechanic. Like new mechanics in 2D games are cool. Like that's good, not to just like rehash stuff from before. But I kind of wish like I just had like a regular double jump.
Yeah, that's the thing I was going to say. Like, it is cool, but then I definitely, at least early on, found myself thinking like, man, double jumps are also nice.
Yeah.
So, but the more I play, though, I have not found any rooms really or stages where I've been thinking to myself like, God, if only I had a double jump here. Like, I can't really, like. But I agree. A nice standard double jump would definitely be cool. But I guess what I'm saying is that I feel like the level design is done a good job of not making me feel like I need this double jump and I don't have it,
Yeah.
So that's good at least. As far as the look of the game goes, I think it looks really nice. I really like the look of the game, and but I guess it needs to be said that this game has two looks, and neither of us have gotten to the point where
the second look comes in.
Yeah. And I don't know how long it takes to get there. I read a couple of reviews, and it sounds like it's not half the game, because the second part of the game where you can switch between looks is longer than the first part, but it almost feels like you've played like all the way through a full game, and then get to a final boss, and then it's like, well, never mind, that's not the final boss, and then you have like way more. So almost the upside down castle thing, I guess, from Symphony of the Night or something like that. So I don't know how far I am from doing that. I'm guessing another couple hours maybe from getting to that other look. But the 8-bit look so far I think is really nice. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about here, or if you kind of agree, but like 90% of it I think looks great, but there's just something about some of the character designs that I don't really love. Like I noticed on the splash screen, and it's that little guy, and this is I think is a pretty cool mechanic, and one that's good for a modern game like this, is that when you die, you start back at a checkpoint, but you have this little demon thing that follows you around and takes your I don't even like the equivalent of the coins that you would pick up in the game, and sort of takes those for a little while until you've paid it back for saving your life or whatever.
Yeah.
And that little character you see on the splash screen, and then obviously is in the game, and it's just like it's going for this thing where it's like kind of meant to be like funny and cartoony, but also like, I don't know, like I feel like it's trying to be like a Family Guy looking like type thing or something, I don't know. It's just not great. And I feel like the same thing with this character design. And it's only some of the stuff too, but the same thing with the character design is how I feel about the humor in a lot of ways too, because like for the most part it's good. And it's nice that this is like a Ninja Gaiden inspired game that adds a little different like flavor to it and is self-aware to a certain extent. Like I think that's good from a certain perspective or to a certain degree. But at the same time, like I'm playing through these stages and they're beautiful, and like it's a really cool Ninja Gaiden like esque gameplay, and I'm just like, this game's really, really cool and really good. And then it'll do something where it puts on some goofy looking little character, or it'll do something where it's like got kind of in your face humor that falls flat. And I'm like, man, you keep pulling me out of what is otherwise like a really cool, like, I just feel like I didn't want to play Ninja Gaiden and feel like, it was all meta and constantly reminding me that I'm playing a video game. Like maybe just because I grew up in the era of 8 and 16-bit games, but like a really, really cool 8-bit or 16-bit like action game to me is engrossing almost more so than some like high production value, high budget 3D game that's trying to be a movie or something. Like the level of abstraction in an 8 and 16-bit game, like it almost is going to make it more likely that I'm going to get sucked into it and be super into it. And I feel like now in the modern era, people are like, oh, well, it's retro looking, so we have to like add this other layer of irony or humor or whatever else on top of it. We can't just earnestly make like a badass 8-bit or 16-bit game. And so that's like a little bit of a bummer as I'm playing it, because, but then sometimes I really like the humor too. Like some of the humor I think is really funny. I don't know if you've been talking to the shopkeeper guy at all.
Yeah, I have a bit. Like I don't chat every time I go in.
Yeah. Yeah. So like some of the stories he tells I think are pretty funny. And some of the things like he'll say are pretty funny. And then other times not as much. But yeah, I guess I have a complicated relationship with the humor in the game.
Yeah.
I like it when it's not taking me out of the experience, I think is what it comes down to. But it also like makes little jokes when you die. Every time there's like a screen with that little demon guy, and there's like a little joke he'll make about like, oh, I guess you could have just hit B or something, or whatever. And a lot of times that's just like kind of pulls me out of the experience too. I'm like, I don't need you to remind me this is a video game. I just want to play it and think it's really cool. So yeah. What do you think? I've been rambling here for a while.
No, it's I'm pretty much with you. I like, honestly, like the humor isn't good enough for me to want it there. Like overall, I think I wish they would have just gone for like something earnest and unironic and not meta, like fourth wall breaking. But like that's like a tricky thing, because like obviously if that's their, like, the developers and the writers like voice, like, cool, like, I mean, be authentic, like if that's what you want to make it. I like, it doesn't, I don't really like it. Like, I mean,
yeah,
to be frank, I like, I don't know. I feel like a game like Shovel Knight pulls off its humor, which is also kind of meta, and kind of like there's some like ironic stuff in there, and because like it's ridiculous, like it's like a knight with a shovel, like already like inherently this is ridiculous. But I think the guys at Yacht Club like have the chops, and like every aspect of that game is like so well thought out that like everything, including like the humor, is just like perfectly polished. And it also is like it's always just like a little bit weird. Like it feels like the Shovel Knight humor feels like the humor in like Earthbound to me. Like it's quirky and meta, but like it fits perfectly. And I also think that's because like the characters and the sprites are so well animated that like you can picture the characters saying that, because it just like it fits so well. Whereas like in The Messenger, it's like you're like, it's weird to have humor when it's like you're this, I mean, you look like Ryu from Ninja Gaiden. Like, and so like it doesn't really fit. And like the shopkeeper looks like, like a creepy dude from like Magician Lord or something, or like Altered Beast. And so it like doesn't really fit like aesthetically, I think. And I mean, there hasn't been like anything where I'm like, oh man, that's like brilliant. Like there's some stuff where I'm like, that's cute. But it's very like Adult Swim. Where I'm like, oh, this like isn't bad. Like this isn't like bottom of the barrel humor, but like it's also like a bit much, and it's not really for me. Like it's the kind of stuff that it's like, I was born 5 years too early for this. Like if I was like 29 years old, like I would probably really like this.
Adult Swim I think is the right, because I had said Family Guy earlier, but I knew that wasn't like the right comparison when I was saying it. I couldn't think of what was. I think Adult Swim is it, because it's like it's over the top, it's cartoony, it's purposely like I think the thing that like I'm sort of like thinking as you're saying all this is that there's times in the game where it thinks its humor is its primary appeal. Like what's really good about this right now is that it's funny and quirky. And to me, as I'm playing the game, I'm like, no, it plays super well.
Yeah.
It looks super good. I'm a ninja and this rules. And then it's like, oh, but here's this like little quirky humor thing and whatever. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Like, I was just playing an awesome game about being a ninja that was like really polished and looks really great and plays and sounds really great. And now you're trying to turn it into some sort of like goofy whatever. So that stuff. And I think it's just like, honestly, for me, it's like a balance issue. You know, if they think the appeal of a game is like 70% gameplay look and sound and 30% humor, I think that it should be dialed down to like 90% the essential stuff and like 10% humor, like little humor here and there. And it's been a long time since I've played Shovel Knight, but I remember it did have like a little bit of a quirky, like off kilter kind of sense or whatever. But I don't ever remember thinking like, as I was playing Shovel Knight, like these guys think they are so funny that that's the reason I should be playing the game right now. Like not at all. And I never thought these guys are in some ways trying to apologize for being a video game by overemphasizing the humor and sort of like being, you know, ironic or whatever. Like I don't want that. I do not want like I just want it to be of like an earnest, like heartfelt, like really cool video game experience. And yeah, it's just trying a little bit too hard not to be that to me sometimes, and that bums me out a little bit. But like I said, sometimes I like it. Like I think it's really funny how the character, I called him Ryu. I don't know like if he has a name or not. Like
the messenger.
Okay, yeah, the messenger. Yeah, so I was putting in my initials on the screen, which I always play as PHS. That's my initials. Like if you ever go to the arcade and see PHS in the leaderboards, that was me.
What does that stand for?
It's a Star Wars Celebration thing. It's a promiscuous Han Solo.
Yes.
who was an absolute rock star cosplayer at the first couple Star Wars celebrations I went to.
Okay.
So one of my idols, yeah. Anyway, so I was putting that in as my save file name or whatever, and I was like, oh wait, but are the characters gonna like address me as PHS all the time? And like I wouldn't want that. But now so I did Ryu so that they addressed me that way. But now I'm like, I could have totally just gone with whatever funny name I feel like I like, because the story is like just, I don't know, the dialogue is whatever. But I kind of like how like he'll be having conversations with people and his response will just be like the ellipsis, you know. That stuff I find is funny, and that's like subtle enough to be like, okay, well, if it was that kind of thing, like he was talking to the wise old man character in the beginning, and the guy was like, you read the book, right, or whatever, and it was just like ellipsis, like, okay, well, that's like not in my face, you know, humor. But I don't know, sometimes it's not as good as that. But I guess we're doing the same thing I'm accusing the developer of, which is spending way too much time focused on the humor and not enough on the rest of it.
Outrage culture, man.
Yeah, well, I'm not outraged. I just wish it was slightly balanced in a different way. But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, I think like the level design is really good so far. The boss fights are cool. I'm kind of stuck on one right now. I was playing from about 11 o'clock last night till about 11:30 trying to get through this boss, probably. Maybe not even quite that long, but probably a good 15-20 minutes on the boss. And it's one of those 2-stage bosses where I just barely get through the first stage and then keep dying on the second stage part.
I had that experience with the rock column.
You've already gotten through the rock column?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
I'm fighting right now.
Oh, okay.
How are you ahead of me?
Whoops.
That's the one I'm fighting, I think.
Okay.
Like he's got like green spikes, right? And like, you have to go up on top of him. And okay, so you also have the paragliding mechanic thing.
Yep. Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, and then like I was like, actually I really liked that boss fight. Like it was so well designed because I felt like every time I was playing it, I was getting better, and I was like, you know, because I died like I probably spent like the same amount of time, like half an hour. And I was just like noticing the cues and everything, and like, oh yeah, when he does this, like I'm gonna go here, and you know, getting that muscle memory for that fight and like that. I think that was that's probably been my favorite moment of the game so far,
Okay.
honestly.
Yeah.
Because like it was that like classic, like, oh my God, I'm getting better and like I can do this. And then when I got to the second stage of it, I was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like which
And do you
is
have to use that cloud stepping mechanic to get through the second stage of it, or like how does
yeah,
that,
no, well you have to use
the gliding?
the gliding to like propel yourself back up after you get the throwing stars.
Okay, see, I haven't done any throwing stars at him. Really, maybe that's like would help me in that second
Oh,
part.
I guess maybe yeah, that's how I beat him. Were you like using your sword?
Yeah, in the first part, I was using my sword. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like in the second part, I was trying to continue using my sword. I wasn't using the.
Oh. Yeah,
Which I
use
mean, I guess it's giving you a pretty big hint. Like you should use your throwing star because it's got all those
it's
blue shard things.
raining throwing
Yeah, it's
stars.
raining
Yeah.
the thing you need to refill
Yeah.
the stars. But like, I don't know. Yeah, yeah, okay. That way you can stay away from him too because he's
Yes.
only damaging you if he gets close to you. So that makes a lot of sense.
But like you have to like line up your shot perfectly because like
Mhm.
he's moving up and down and
And do I have to hit him like 10 times or is
it's
it
like a lot. I was like, are you kidding me?
yeah, that's annoying. Yeah.
It's super annoying, but it also like when I finally beat it, like my hands were like so sweaty and I was like kind of shaking. And I was like, oh, that's a good video game right there.
Well, so something else about it that I'm not sure about is like there was one part early in the game where I feel like I could have continued, I could have kept going left, but I went down like a gap or whatever, a chasm, and then I ended up like I think in the catacombs or some different like underground area, and it was like I wonder like can you do these levels in a different order? In this part of the game, depending. I don't know. If maybe I couldn't have gone any further to the right. I mean, maybe I couldn't have gone further. I just thought I could, but it seemed like a thing where it's like I was in a new area and then I went down a tunnel or whatever you want to call it. And then I was in a different area. And I was like, oh, well, if I hadn't gone down here and I kept going the other way, like would I be playing through a different stage first and then end up back there? I don't know. I think in the second half of the game, exploration and like retraversal and stuff is a big part of it. But I thought the first half of the game was more linear. But it seems like maybe there's the opportunity to go out of order. Did you notice that? Or
there's a few like I don't know, side passages you can take, but they always seem to lead well, they lead to like one of those green circle things, the collectible.
Yeah.
Which I got one of, and then it's like you need to find 43 more of these, and I'm like, nope, not gonna do that. Like,
yeah, but it's like a 20-hour game, so I mean, like that could, I don't know. It's possible that you know what I mean. Like, but yeah, I think I found like 3 so far or something.
Yeah, I don't
know what you get when you get them all either.
Yeah,
maybe it's like Breath of the Wild. When you finish all of the DLC, you get a motorcycle so you can traverse the world faster. Which what am I going to do now that I've done every single thing I can do in the game with this motorcycle?
That's true.
That's about that. Anyway,
yeah. So
Mario 64 when you get 99 lives at the end, and it's like, oh, I have every single star. What do I need these 99 lives for?
Yeah.
But anyway,
gotta unlock that playable Luigi.
Yeah. No. Maybe someday.
Someday.
Should I go back and try to play through it again and see if I can finally unlock him this time in Mario 64?
I think you have to wait until it's 2018. Second half of 2018.
Oh, okay.
Then you get to play as Luigi.
I see. Okay, gotcha.
Or I think you can just play the DS version.
Right.
Which is not a not a good choice.
Are you playing with Pro Controller or are you using the Joy-Con?
I've done both. Mostly I'm playing in portable mode. Using the D-pad, and it's fine.
Yeah, so like the Joy-Con D-pad-esque thing. Yeah. I played the first 2 times I played the game. I played on my TV and I used my 8BitDo controller with the D-pad on it, and obviously that was good. And I was a little nervous about playing it portable with the Joy-Con, thinking like it wouldn't control too well. But so far, I haven't had really too many issues, so that's been good. I don't know. I mean, granted, I haven't been able to beat this boss, so maybe it's not about me and it's just about the D-pad on the Joy-Con. I'm not sure, but I'm just kidding. It seems like it seems like it's not too bad. Great joke. It seems like it's pretty good, I think. Using that. So I guess what it really comes down to is how often are you having to, in a game like this, using one of the, what would you say, like quarter directions, like in between diagonal. Yeah. And I don't really feel like I'm doing that much, if at all, in the messenger,
No.
So if that's the case, then I feel like the D-pad thing on the Joy-Con actually, it works fine,
It's
versus when I try to play Street Fighter with the Joy-Con and it's a nightmare.
Yeah. I just use the analog stick for
I'm
fighting
not too
games.
good at that. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you going to keep playing the messenger?
Yeah. I think I am. I got like super sidetracked by Monster Hunter. And I've weirdly been in the mood to play Smash Melee lately. So I've been doing a little bit of that, and I've like started a new save file, and I'm like, I guess going through and unlocking stuff again. I have no idea what I'm doing with my life, but I've just felt like doing that a bit. So
you can come over and borrow that TV from me if you want. You playing on the GameCube?
Well, I'm playing on the Wii with component cables on a 720p TV.
Okay.
So it looks good. Yeah, it's progressive scan and everything. So
nice.
Yeah.
I think if I could just make one more comment here about the messenger. The thing for me with this game is like my game of the year right now is Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon.
Same.
Because it was amazing, really fun. But I feel like in terms of the gameplay and the look and all that stuff, besides some of the character design, art direction type thing, like overall, this game, in my first couple hours with it, it's like that they're executing as well as the Bloodstained team was in terms of like the nuts and bolts of making like an 8-bit game. And it's gorgeous and it sounds great and it plays really well. But I can already tell, I mean, granted, I guess this isn't fair because I haven't even really gotten to the part of the game where it kind of reveals the complete sort of thesis for what it wants to be or whatever. And when you can switch between the two looks and all that stuff. But and I know that there's way more to this game than there is to Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon, because that's like a 2 to 3 hour game and this is like a 20-hour game, But anyway, even though mechanically, graphically, stuff like that, like I feel like it's going toe to toe with Bloodstained. I feel like I can already kind of say like it's not going to get there for me the way Bloodstained did, because it's not willing to be as earnest as that was, because it wants to, I don't know, it wants to have this level of abstraction from being just something like completely, heartfelt and straightforward, and just we're going to do the best we can to make this really cool ninja game. Like all the humor stuff and the irony and whatever is just kind of, I think it could end up still being one of my favorite games of the year, and it could be really great. But it's just like, I don't know, going into it, I heard people saying like it's this year's Shovel Knight, it's the Shovel Knight for the Ninja Gaiden style gameplay, it's like, all those things, and I think that's true in a lot of ways, but I also think just, it's taking me out of it too often, taking me out of the experience with the humor and the irony and stuff, that to the point where I just don't think it's going to live or be able to kind of match up to how much I love Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon for the coveted Nintendo Fun Club Game of the Year selection award that everybody's kind of anxiously awaiting our designation on that. But
which 8-bit looking game are we going to say is better than Smash Brothers Ultimate this year? No, I think like this does not even come close to Bloodstained to me. Like it's maybe better, I don't know. Like it certainly has like better reviews and stuff. But like Bloodstain, I started playing that game and I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Like, this is exactly what I want. I've played through it 3 times now.
All elements come together to create a cohesive vision of what it wants to be.
Yeah.
And that is really satisfying. And this doesn't all come together in that same way. Like, I feel like certain parts of it are at odds with other parts of it. And yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
And sorry, I totally cut you off there, which I apologize for, but like, I like Castlevania better than Ninja Gaiden anyway. So like already it's got that going for it. But I think if this just was like, we're going to make the best ninja game, 8-bit ninja game, 8-bit / 16-bit ninja game we could, I don't know. There could be a conversation for me or a conflict there. But as of right now, I don't feel conflicted in terms of which one I prefer.
Yeah, and I mean we can talk about this when we award Curse of the Moon, the game of the year for NFC in like January or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I think just like I don't know, like you were saying, like, you know, Messenger is like visually better and it you know, mechanically better, but like I don't know.
Not better. Just like it's doing as well. It's just as good at those things. Yeah.
Okay. Like, because I think like I like the way Bloodstain feels better. Just because, like, again, like you, I'm more of like a Castlevania fan than like anything. And like it just feels so perfect, and I feel like so in control. And then also
Bloodstain feels different depending on what character you're playing as too, which is
yes, and I was just gonna say, like,
yeah.
And like the way you can play that game, it's like it lends itself so much to like replaying.
Yeah.
I also think like artistically it's way more my jam.
Okay.
And I also think something we haven't really talked about, but I think Bloodstained has infinitely better music. I'm not really feeling the Messenger's soundtrack
really
at all. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, especially like in that Rock Golem boss, I was like, this is cool music. I like this. This totally works. I don't know, but
like the only time I've noticed the music is to be like, I'm not really feeling this.
Okay.
Like that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Fair. Yeah. I mean, when you're playing as not Maria in Bloodstained, it's like it's so good. It feels so good. You know.
Yeah.
And that is a nice touch that it's got that different, you know, those different sort of things. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody was asking for these two games to be compared or if it's even really fair to compare them or not. But to me, it's just like, I think it just really illustrates the difference between just a completely 100% honest and earnest, you know, style of you know, creating a game, not creating a game, because it's not that they're being dishonest in the way they're creating it, but you know, communicating a vision. I don't know, whatever you want to say.
I think it's just like I'm the you know, the vision and the voice of the Bloodstained Curse of the Moon team like speaks to me way more.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's obviously there's tons of people like game reviewers in their mid-20s who like the Messenger like really speaks to.
Well, or like, didn't Neil from NWR give it a 10?
Yeah.
I mean, he's closer to our age, right? And
that's true.
So maybe it's just, you know, us being grumpy, and because there's definitely people in our demo who love it also.
That's true. That's true. And
Brian Altano like super loves it, and he's, you know, he's not a youngster or anything like that. He's not from the
no spring chicken, just like us. Yeah, that's true. I think it's just what your jam is. But I like the Messenger. The idea of it being like 20 hours is like super off-putting to me. So when you ask me like, am I going to finish it? It's maybe.
Well, yeah, I think you at least have to get to the part where it goes 16-bit and all that, right? Like,
Yeah.
and play through a little bit of that and stuff. So I think I will definitely finish it, as long as there's not too much, as long as it's not like I feel like I'm slamming my head against the wall difficulty wise.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't feel like that'll be the case right now, even though I am stuck on a boss. But it seems like to me, it's like a really nice level of difficulty, because it's not super duper easy, but
Yeah.
I can, I might have a stretch of gameplay that I have to play through 2 or 3 times before I get through it, if it's tough, but it hasn't been punishing yet.
Yeah, I feel like it's difficulty wise, like it's very like Shovel Knight level.
Yeah.
It like I feel like they kind of nailed it, like very very Shovel Knight-esque.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good. I mean, if you like, like I think most people who look at this game and are like, "Oh, this is something I want to play," I think most of those people will enjoy it. I think like we are kind of like the outliers here.
Yeah. And I hope I didn't misconstrue my opinion either, because I really, really do like it a lot, and I plan on playing through all of it. And I think it'll end up being, one of my favorite games of the year. I just don't think it can quite get over that, like total, like get into that total like god tier level. Like love the game so much, like Curse of the Moon. So
yeah, same.
But yeah.
Same. Yeah, I also like I do like the game. Like it's fun to play, and it does feel good and everything.
Yeah, because
it's like really well made, and I'm sure like once like you get to like the twist point, like that's really cool.
Yeah.
And like that's super impressive, and yeah, there's just like
because most of the time I'm playing and I'm like, this is awesome, it's really cool, it feels really great, and it's just every once in a while that it does something, usually with trying to be funny, that it, pulls me out of that, and that bums me out. But like that's by no means the majority of my time with the game. It's not doing that stuff to me, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's one of those things where I'm playing and I'm thinking to myself like, oh my, this could have been like near perfect, and instead it's just like down a notch from that because of these things, but it's like if I were to say take a 20-minute chunk of gameplay, like when I'm playing this game for 20 minutes, 18 of those minutes I'm loving it and I'm totally like invested and engaged, and then like a total of 2 of those minutes I'm like, oh, why are you doing this humor stuff, so it's just like one of those things where it's like it could have been amazing, and instead it's just super super good. It's kind of where I'm at with it. So I still really really like it. It's just I just have some qualms with certain elements of it.
Yeah, I think like the humor, like the combination of the humor and like not really being into the music and not feeling fully comfortable with like the cloud stepping mechanic is like those 3 things together, like kind of just makes it a little I don't know, just like is what are keeping me from like being super super invested.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
So
cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's enough on that. And that's enough of this episode, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, like I guess sorry about the wait if you were eagerly anticipating this. No one like ever like tweeted at me or texted me or sent an email being like, where's NFC? So I think life goes on and the world.
Yeah, I did have comments from a couple of our IRL friends, like Dan and Rich, were like, hey, what's going on, man? Like, hook us up with some more Nintendo Fun Club. Ooh. So thanks to those guys for caring a little bit about if we keep doing this and stuff.
Noticing that there wasn't episodes.
Yeah. But
cool.
You know what? I think we focus on, Ryan, the fact that we are like, I think we said a good 6.5 years into doing this show. And even if right now we're not doing it super regularly, keeping the dream alive, I mean, there's a lot of I'm sure there's a lot of Nintendo podcasts out there that not very many people listen to that only lasted 2 or 3 years. So like we're a Nintendo podcast that almost nobody listens to that's been doing it for 6.5 years. So I mean I feel like that's something.
Definitely a life choice that we've made. Like, I mean, think about that sentence. Anyways, cool. Well, yeah, if you want to find our website that no one goes to, it is nintendofunclubpodcast.com.
I don't know. One time you posted a Neo Turf Masters video and it got like 2,000 views. So,
hey, like if there's one thing you can come to this podcast for, it's Neo Geo content and SNK content. Like, and we promise to keep delivering that. But what else? You can subscribe to the podcast or whatever. I'm on Twitter at Braundwarf, BrawnDwarf. And what about you, John?
I'm on Twitter at Arcade Ghost.
Cool. Well, we'll be back whenever we have something else to talk about. So thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you next time, whenever that may be. Goodbye.
See ya. We'll definitely record an episode when that Castlevania collection gets announced.